we're back in another video. And today, I'm going to be walking you through how to complete a heroic race in Dragon City and get a heroic dragon plus 3 other dragons. To make this video, I used footage from the Nebula and White Queen heroic races, but what I'm about to tell you can be used in any heroic race. So even though you'll be racing for a different heroic dragon, you can still use the principles that I'm about to tell you to help you with the race. Okay, let's get into it. First, let's talk about what's important about heroic dragons. As you can see from this chart, heroic dragons are the strongest dragons in Dragon City. And so if you can get one, you really want to try to get it. Heroic races are probably the best way to do that. So let's get into it and learn how to complete the heroic race and win a heroic dragon. Okay, let me talk a little bit about the parts of a heroic race. The goal of a heroic race is to complete as many laps as possible. One lap has 5 nodes. In order to complete a node, you have to complete 1 or 2 challenges. There are 7 different types of challenges: collecting gold, collecting food, feeding dragons, breeding dragons, hatching eggs, 1v1 battles, and league battles. For each task you do in a challenge, you will get an item. For collecting gold, you will get a gem. For collecting food, you will get a bud. For feeding dragons, you will get a bug. For breeding dragons, you will get a wreath. And for hatching dragons, you will get a rose. We'll talk about this in a little while, but those are the items that pop up only some of the times when you do a task, like collecting gold or feeding your dragons. There are 2 other items that pop up every time you complete a task. Both are for completing battles. One is a horn for 1v1 battles, and the other is a hat for league battles. In order to complete a challenge, you need to get a certain number of those items. And that number will be shown on the screen, so then you know how many you need to get in advance. To get the heroic dragon, you have to win the race, or you have to be at lap 15 or higher when the race ends. Also, you can finish in first place or reach lap 15 and finish in second or third place to get the heroic dragon and the 3 other dragons. And for each lap you finish, you get a reward. Now that that's out of the way, let's start playing. To get to the race, you go to this island right here. So here we are on lap 1, node 1, and here are our tasks. And our first task is feeding our dragons. So let's do it. As you can see here, we don't always get the item when we feed our dragons, but every once in a while we will. So we just have to keep feeding to get all the items. Okay, and here's a tip on feeding. Fill a habitat with terror dragons that are level 1. Then feed those dragons up to level 10, and then sell the dragon. That way you get about 6 or 7 bugs, and it doesn't take away much of your food. And then you can start over with the next level 1 dragon and keep going until you've gotten enough bugs. Okay, that's done. We got all 4 bugs from feeding our dragons, so we're finished with node 1. Let's move on. So in the early stages, you can just get all 4, bugs, stuff like that. But in the later stages, you have to wait, so then you can't get them all at once. So like for example, if I had 3 bugs and I'm in a later stage and then I can't get any more, I'm probably gonna have to wait like 15 more minutes. A great way to figure out what all the tasks are and how long you have to wait is to look up a heroic race guide online. There's a great guide at deetlist.com, link in the description. Okay, our next task for node 2 is collecting gold. This one's pretty easy. Just collect gold. Okay, we got it. All 5 rubies. Now on to node 3. Now for node 3, we need to collect food. And this one's a little bit more tricky. It's easy to collect food, but if you do it wrong, you're gonna have to wait forever to get this done. So the best way to do this is to have a bunch of food farms and to grow a bluebell bouquet on each farm. It only takes 30 seconds to grow and only costs 50 gold. This way you can harvest every 30 seconds, and it may take a while if you have to get a lot of food, but you can still do it pretty quickly. So here we have 14 food farms, I think. I'm not totally sure. And for each time we harvest, we get 1 or 2, maybe even 3 buds when we harvest. If you have to get 10 buds, let's say, it would take about 4 or 5 harvests. When you get up to the upper levels, it'll take a lot more harvests than the lower levels, but you can still get it done. Okay, so we collected our food and got past node 3, and now here we are on node 4. We have to get 6 bugs this time. This is an example where we have to wait. You can only collect 5 bugs initially, and then you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can collect the 6th bug. Again, the way to figure out the wait time is to check out a heroic race guide online, like the one I mentioned earlier, link in the description. So now I got 5 bugs initially, but now I have to wait for the 6th. Okay, so I waited the required amount of time, and here we go to get the last bug. Okay, we got it. So now we're on to node 5, 1v1 dragon fights. In this one, you just fight a dragon, and then you have to wait a certain amount of time before you fight another dragon. In the early laps, there are only a couple dragons you have to fight, but in the later laps, there are more, like 5 or 6 sometimes, and maybe even more. In this first lap, we have to defeat 2 dragons in the 1v1 battles. So I'll start with the first one now, and we'll come back when I'm finished. Okay, we defeated the second dragon, and now we have finished our first lap. Those are sort of the basics. We'll get into a little bit more before we finish up the video, and that is basically how the heroic race is played. Okay, so our next challenge is breeding. The key to breeding is to use dragons that have a short breeding time. So what you want to do is take 2 Terra dragons and breed them together. Those dragons have the fastest breeding time, only about 15 seconds. You're gonna have to breed over and over and over and over to get those wreaths. So you'll have to have some patience. But if you keep at it, you'll definitely get them. Another trick is to have the breeding sanctuary, the breeding mountain, and the breeding tree. That way you can breed 3 dragons at once and make the process go a lot faster. Also, you want to expand the hatchery so you can have 3 eggs at once in there. Again, that will make the whole process of breeding go faster. League battles is another challenge. This one's pretty easy. All you have to do is battle in leagues and win. The only thing is that you might have to spend gems to do more than 3 league battles. Now the last challenge, which is kind of tricky, is hatching. Hatching is a little bit tougher because it has 2 steps to it. First, you have to breed the dragons, and then you have to hatch them. So this takes even more time than breeding. But again, the way to do it is to breed 2 Terra dragons and try to get 3 eggs in the hatchery, and then hatch them all at once. Have a habitat nearby that you can hatch them to, and when that habitat fills up, just sell all the Terra dragons in it, so then you have more space, and then you can start the process of breeding and hatching over again. So let's talk about a couple other ways to complete tasks. First of all, you can just spend gems to complete your tasks. if you get down to a couple more tasks to go, it might be worth it to spend a couple gems, especially if the tasks are hard ones like breeding or hatching. Or if it's going to take a long time to do the tasks, it probably would be worth it to spend a couple gems. Another way to complete tasks is to pull the lever to see if you can get tasks completed or even nodes completed. You get one free spin every 24 hours, so take advantage of that, but use it only on things that are very, very tough. Or you can use it if you have to wait a long time. That could help you shorten the time it takes you to get through your nodes and your laps. Also, you can buy spins for 20 gems, but that's kind of expensive, so use that only when you kind of need to use it. Keep in mind, if you buy a spin, that is going to start the 24-hour period over for the next free spin. So if you're close to getting another free spin, you might just want to wait. Now we've talked about all the things you need to do in the race. So let's talk about a few tips and tricks. First of all, it's important to start on the first day that the race starts. The laps at the start are very easy, but as you go on in the race, the more laps you get, the harder it gets. So the more laps you get early on in the race, the better. Second, don't worry about winning the race. Just try your best to get to lap 15. And if you can, finish in the top 3 so then you can get all 4 dragons. As you're going through the race, try to plan ahead and save resources so that they're available when you need them. For example, if you know you have to collect gold in the next node, don't collect it now. Just wait until you get to that node so then you have enough gold to collect. Try to get all 3 breeding locations so that you can breed 3 dragons at once. Breeding is one of the hardest things, so that makes it go a lot faster. Try to put your Terra habitat near your breeding locations and hatchery. That also makes the process go a lot faster when you're trying to breed and hatch. Okay, so we've been through the entire race. Now let's see us getting to lap 15. Here we go. And we got it! We got to lap 15, yes! We're going to get our heroic dragon. Now we gotta wait until the race is over and see us getting our heroic dragon. And here we go, the big day is here. Let's see if we got it. Yes, here it is, we got it, finally! We got the heroic and the other 3 dragons. I hope this video helped you out, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys!